Okay, please call this meeting to order. Call the roll.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilmember Kaplan.
Here.
Councilmember Dickinson is expected momentarily. Vice Mayor Talamontes.
Here.
Councilmember Pluckybaum.
Here.
Councilmember Maple will be absent. Mayor Pro Tem Guerra.
Here.
Councilmember Jennings.
Here.
Councilmember Vang.
Here.
And Mayor McCarty.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay. Councilmember Pluckybaum, can you lead us in the pledge and land acknowledgement?
Happy to. Please rise if you're able. To the original people of this land, the Nisenan people, the Southern Maidu, Valley and Plains Miwok, Patwin Wintu, and the people of the Wilton Rancheria, Sacramento's only federally recognized tribe, may we acknowledge and honor the Native people who came before us and still walk beside us today on these ancestral lands by choosing to gather together today in the active practice of acknowledgement and appreciation for Sacramento's indigenous people's history, contribution, and lives. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So welcome to the Tuesday, September 1st, 2026, 2 p.m. City Council meeting. If you wish to speak or submit comments, please fill out the online form. There's a QR code in the back of the room and handouts in the front, and members of the City Clerk's office are available in the lobby to assist. You have 2 minutes to address the council, and you may speak on up to 4 items, and the speaker is on the screen behind me. This meeting is being live streamed in English and Spanish on YouTube. Captions and translations are AI generated and may contain errors. So that everyone has the opportunity to address the council, members of the public are asked to observe the rules of decorum. Council rules of procedure outline decorum expected in the chambers and can be found on our website. There are copies in the back of the room. For example, use of swear words, yelling from the audience, physically threatening conduct, and displays of disrespect are discouraged. And the presiding officer will request that a person cease disruptive conduct, and if they have not immediately stopped, the presiding officer may direct the person to leave the council meeting. City Attorney, do you have a report out from closed section?
Nothing to report out.
So, Mayor, we now move to the consent calendar, items 1 through 13. Are there members that wish to speak on or make comments? Mayor Pro Tem Guerra.
Item number 10.
Councilmember Kaplan.
Quick questions on items 3 and 6.
Okay, seeing no one else signed up to speak, Councilmember Kaplan, item 3.
Madam City Manager, I have a couple questions on item 3 and 6. Item 3 is our nighttime economy. Do you mind if I have her come up just to answer a couple of questions? Okay. Tina? As you're walking up, I just want to say I'm excited on how we're using entertainment zones, and that I just want to confirm that we are analyzing our zone events and what's working with stakeholders and whatnot. Is a report coming back to council on that?
Are you asking specifically, are we going to come back with a report kind of analyzing how the zones go? Yes, we can come back once we've had a number of events. We're going to be doing a comprehensive analysis just to determine what's working, what's not working, if there's any opportunities to make any additional changes to enhance the ordinance. So we will be working with our stakeholders, our entertainment zone leads, as well as event organizers. And again, I probably should introduce myself. My name is Tina Lee Vogt, and I am your nighttime economy manager.
And I appreciate that, because this item, as we are, expanding entertainment zones, and, the state authorized us to do that, and it was a way to kind of activate, and I'm just wanting to, because we're hearing fees are too much, and what the balance on that. So as you come back with the report, I've seen some of the bigger organizations visit Sacramento, others I know. We've got some smaller businesses are looking at doing this, but wanting to, how does this fit in of growing our economy? And then are we charging fees appropriately, or is it too much? So I know, just as you're working on this, that's something that's really important as we look at it to make them as successful as possible.
We will be evaluating that, and just to clarify, there are no direct fees related with entertainment zones themselves. The concerns related to the fees are related to the special event permit. So anytime an event happens in an entertainment zone, there has to be a special event permit that's associated with that, and so all of the fees are related to obtaining the special event permit. Our office works very closely with the Entertainment Services Division within Convention and Cultural Services, and so we are looking to see how we balance those fees with being able to encourage events and activating zones. Again, it depends on the size of the event. For example, we currently have an event that is a smaller business-driven event. If you don't have a chance, go by Campground. It's with Park Side and Beachette Deli, and they are taking a small amount of Ali Yousefi Square, expanding their premise a bit, and they've already witnessed about a 56% increase in activity just by being able on the weekends to activate the space utilizing the entertainment zone.
Which I really appreciate, because I think, Madam City Managers, as we look at, it's not specifically entertainment fee, but you look at fencing and insurance and fire inspection, and if they require something else, how that all relates in for holding special events, which then folds into making our entertainment district successful. So I'm good, but I just wanted to ask you a couple of those questions, because I think it's something we need to highlight as we're looking at economic development for the city. So thank you.
Yeah, and I will let you know that under the direction of our CCS director, they are looking at special event permits across the board, and I'm certain this is one of the things they'll look at as well. So we'll make certain we include that.
Perfect, thank you.
And then Councilmember Kaplan on item 6.
Yes, on item 6, it's the center point at Natomas Crossing Commercial Development. Just really quickly, we got, hi Zach, how are you? We got a couple of comments from Civic Thread, and I just want to make sure those comments were incorporated, because walking and biking is really important, and how we connect that, but has the plan addressed that?
Yeah, and so this is Zach Dulles, Senior Planner with the Community Development Department. Yes, and I should note that this item tonight is the consent passed for publication of Centerpoint. We'll be bringing this item back for a public hearing September 15th. But yes, in terms of Civic Thread's comments.
Yeah, so it does provide a pedestrian and bike path throughout the development.
Correct. There's connections to Truxell and to Del Paso.
Okay, that was just big in my community. Wanted to make sure that was addressed, and I'm good, so thank you. I'll move consent calendar.
Thank you. And Mayor Pro Tem Guerra, you had comments on item 10?
Yes, thank you very much. And first, let me just thank all of our public works staff who's involved in our Vision Zero school safety project here. This one hits close to the neighborhood. About 13 years ago, in fact, on September 11th, we had an unfortunate fatality. A 16-year-old student, Michelle, who lost her life on Fruit Ridge Road and 58th Street. My wife and I had just bought our house, actually, that same month when it happened. And, fortunately, after that, Mayor McCarty, at that point was Councilman McCarty, secured some funding to do an intersection there. But even today, thinking about the loss of that student's life, we have people who are not yielding at the intersections. And this item, while it's small and maybe glossed over on consent, provides a pedestrian island for kids to walk over, not only to the high school, but also Mark Twain Elementary as well. This is also, while we need more enforcement on the folks who are not following our traffic rules and not yielding for kids in the morning, but also the fact that we need to improve more of our infrastructure. This item itself, it does not only good crosswalk work and helps protect that, but it also recognizes that we have challenges in other parts of our district. Natomas High School is going to get some improvements. The Met Sacramento High School near Southside Park is going to get some improvements as well, and William Land Elementary School. And I think the more we can do on these pedestrian crossing improvements, making it safer, putting more pedestrian protection islands so that kids can walk to school, bike to school, and more importantly, just a bigger message here that that we encourage everyone to take the time to pay attention where they're driving. Yes, the city needs to do more, and we must do more with the bit of federal dollars and city dollars we have, but we can't have another incident like we had in 2013. So with that, thank you for all of our staff for this safety, this Vision Zero safety project and the improvements that we're doing here locally. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. And I have two speakers on the consent calendar, Lambert Davis, then Annabelle Gonzalez.
I was encouraged to come here, actually. Today, on the consent calendar, we've been monitoring, actually, Mr. Pluckybaum's absenteeism and erratic behavior on the rostrum. District 4 gets a lot of money. They get a lot of money, and they should. It's downtown. And as a native, downtown needs to be cleaned up, especially K Street Mall. All of downtown does not look terrible to me. When family and friends come here, I have plenty of places I can show them in Sacramento. That's wonderful. If you grew up here, you understand what I just said. If you didn't, you might go down K Street Mall and be stunned. But there are some monies coming into District 4 on the consent calendar, and I'm the one that said that if any money comes to District 4, Mr. Pluckybaum should be on the rostrum. He shouldn't be wandering around and outside. We saw him outside. If you're going to represent a district, do it like Mr. Dickerson. He's here all the time because he knows. People put out a lot of time and effort to get people elected, and once you get elected, I mean, some of you may not remember, but Gray Davis got recalled for changing his behavior. And I was a big fan of his wife because she was a huge fan of our cheesecake. Once he got removed, down the tubes. So don't take it for granted on that rostrum. You're supposed to be here. You actually get paid to be here.
Next speaker is Annabelle Gonzalez.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. My name is Annabelle Gonzalez. I spent some time at Algo Bueno in Northgate, and somehow Northgate inspired me to write a little poetry, a little beat, and a whole lot of Arena Boulevard. What about my arena, Karina? I thought it was yours too. District 1, District 3, arena runs between you and me. We know you know the water's here, seeping through year after year. Natoma's levees, miles around, built to hold that water down. Lisa, listen here. You know those lines are real. Pipes below, gas lines too, 8-foot screws going through. History speaks, history repeats. Bush Lake, remember the name? We drained the land, but water stayed the same. The Army Corps warned us, Katrina showed us why. Levees are protection, but they are not a guarantee. So plan it right, know the land before you work, do the homework first, and put people first. No Katrina here, no shelter on arena. 7.1 million, now everybody knows, over 5 million while their arena goes. Emails, maps, reports, and all, stop making us dig just to understand it all. Somewhere through the fight, one thing finally came to light. I found my love for arena. I found my voice, I found my fight, I found my love for arena tonight. Lisa and Karina, hear us clear. No more shelter on arena, no more drama on arena. My arena, our arena. Thank you.
So, Mayor, you have a motion by Councilmember Kaplan, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Guerra.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any noes or abstentions? Hearing none, items pass.
Thank you. And Councilmember Maple is absent. Our next item is a public hearing. Item 14 is Rail Yards Special Sign District, Subdistrict 2, static digital signs for large entertainment venues, project M25-009. And I'm going to open the public hearing.
Good afternoon, Mayor, council members. My name is Matt Sipes. I'm Senior Architect with the Community Development Department. Perfect. I'm presenting amendments to the ordinance 15148.193.f, the Rail Yard Special Sign District, Subdistrict 2, Large Entertainment Venues Static Digital Signage. As you can see above. The amendment was previously agendized last year. However, city staff entered additional discussions with the property owner and the venue operator regarding operational needs that were not presented to staff prior to the paint shop project entering the construction phase. Staff have reflected the results of those discussions into the amended ordinance to allow this form of digital signs on applicable historic structures that are not otherwise permitted. Per the summary shown above, I'll focus on two main operational changes. The first change is a single still image per day was in the original ordinance. That has since been changed to 5-minute changes during operational periods or 15-minute changes on non-operational periods. An operational period means the period that begins 3 hours before the start time of the event and ends 2 hours after the conclusion of an event at the large entertainment venue. The second operational hours which are commensurate with our ESC sign district. Displays can operate from dawn until midnight. This was previously from dawn to 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, and then dawn until 2 a.m. the following day. Previously was to midnight Friday and Saturday. Signs will follow existing city standards for illumination levels, and all will need sign permits that meet city standards. This amendment would allow for limited static digital signage on pedestrian scale building elements such as entry canopies within the Sacramento Shops Historic District, while continuing to protect the historic integrity of the historic district and its contributing resources. This also supports the economic development of the rail yards. This ordinance should not be misconstrued as part of other city efforts regarding large-scale digital billboards. Staff is recommending City Council approve the proposed ordinance amendment to the Sacramento City Code Section 15148.193F, and I'm available for any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. I have one speaker on this item, Lambert Davis. Mr. Davis? He's indicating he doesn't wish to speak. So I have no more speakers on this item.
Mr. Pluckybaum?
Move staff recommendation.
And close the public hearing.
Yes.
Councilmember Pluckybaum closed the public hearing and made a motion to approve the item, and was a second by Councilmember Dickinson.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any noes or abstentions?
Mayor, I'll be taking a no position for the same reasons that I stated at the last meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Item passes.
Item passes. Councilmember Vang is a no, and Councilmember Maple is absent. We move to our discussion calendar. Item 15 is a contract, which is 13th Amendment to the Sacramento Zoological Society Operating Agreement.
Yes, please. We'll go first? Yes. Perfect. Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. My name is Dustin Hollingsworth. I'm the Assistant Director of the Department of Convention and Cultural Services. I'm here to ask that you pass a motion authorizing the City Manager to execute the 13th Amendment to the Zoo's Operating Agreement. I'm joined by Liz Stallard, the President of the Sacramento Zoological Society Board. Since April, the Society and the City have been diligently working on the agreed-upon action items from the MOU, and as planned, we are returning with this amendment that is related to the potential expansion of the zoo and land park. Some of those MOU items that we've been working on include evaluating the need for changes to the park's master plan, which it turns out there were none, looking for at the need for CEQA and other environmental as well as historical reviews. We've been examining what's required within this the amendment to the operating agreement, and there's been extensive community engagement campaign, which Liz will touch on in more detail shortly. While it wasn't part of the MOU, We also use the opportunity to present an overview of the potential expansion to both the Parks Commission as well as Preservation Commissions. So what is this amendment? Executing the proposed 13th Amendment to the agreement establishes the terms through which the city and the society may continue to explore and further define the potential expansion of the zoo. Exhibit A2 identifies the most recently proposed expansion area within the requested zoo. This amendment establishes a direct pathway for the areas in A2 to become incorporated into the zoo's operating agreement. The design of the potential expansion is expected to be refined in the coming months as the society moves forward with more detailed design and then further environmental impact, or EIR, is completed. This amendment specifically requires that the society satisfy all related applicable California Environmental Quality Act requirements, or CEQA, which ultimately would require council's approval as well. While the city must make applicable amendments to the 2003 Sacramento Zoo concept and vision plan to address inconsistencies between the plan and the potential expansion, through the process, the city will also retain the rights to weigh environmental impacts related to the expansion, and if the city finds those impacts unacceptable, the city can halt expansion or require the society to address impacts. Additionally, if the expansion does move forward, the society will be required to pursue the agreed-upon improvements consistent with the terms of the existing operating agreement, which already outlines a process for making improvements at the zoo site. If the off chance the society doesn't diligently pursue those proposed improvements after the approval is given, it is the city in its sole discretion will have the option to withdraw all or portions of the expansion area. And if that happens, the city will be required to remove, stabilize, or restore any partially completed work. In effect, this proposed amendment does establish the necessary and appropriate actions to create a pathway to the zoo's future expansion. It's important to note that this agreement does not commit the city to a project. At this point, I'll hand it over to Liz to provide you with some more background and details from the past few months.
All right. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Thank you for having me here to speak on behalf of the best thing in Sacramento, the Sacramento Zoo. I will walk you through a few slides about the expansion proposal and what we've been up to since the last time we were here. So first, just a little overview. The Sacramento Zoo will be celebrating its 100th birthday anniversary next year in June. We opened in 1927 at 4 acres in Lamb Park. I won't walk you through everything, but if you note the old map, you can see that there are some animals there that we don't have at the Sacramento Zoo anymore. Obviously, over time, there are certain animals that we no longer have the space to keep, and that's something to keep in mind as we move through my slides today. Perhaps most important, that last bullet, 1968, the zoo expanded to 14 acres. That's the last time that the Sacramento Zoo expanded at all, and we've been at that approximately 14 acres since that time. Space has always been an issue for the Sacramento Zoo. Again, I won't walk you through every piece of this slideshow, but as you can see over time, the Sacramento Zoo has lost some of its larger species. We've lost elephant, we've lost hippo, we recently lost tiger. We've had to move those animals out because we simply don't have the space to provide them with the kind of environment and behavioral enrichment that they deserve and that our accreditation requires. We lost our last elephant in 1991, and of course in 1997 is when the Sacramento Zoological Society, the organization that I'm here to represent, took over day-to-day operation and management of the Sacramento Zoo from the city of Sacramento. Since that time, we're very proud to say we've run an incredible zoo. We've made a number of improvements. We have maintained the accreditation with the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, and we, generally speaking, have provided a great and enriching environment for the people of Sacramento and the Sacramento region generally, as well as support our mission of conservation, promoting awareness and support for endangered species. Important at the end of this set of bullet points is that in 2018, our AZA accreditation review identified that there were concerns about our space needs as we moved forward with respect to being able to maintain the quality of habitat and support for the animals in our care. And of course, as some of you may remember, in 2018 is when we really began another effort at looking for more space for the Sacramento Zoo. So current challenges, again, we're a 99-year-old zoo and we have some aging infrastructure. We obviously need to maintain our accreditation and respond to evolving standards. Keeping animals there that people want to see at zoos, having the flexibility on our site to build new habitats and to enrich the experiences that we have, and of course, What does all of that do? It allows the zoo to remain a viable and operationally sustaining entity in Sacramento, which of course is our ultimate goal. We owe it to our mission as well as to the community to still be here, right, and to run ourselves in a financially and operationally responsible way. So now we come back to the proposed expansion. You saw these slides earlier. You can see there are two general areas of expansion. There's what we call the former pony ride parcel across the street, approximately 4.4 acres. And then there's the parcel along our northern border, about 1.2 acres, that essentially extends our border closer to the street. You can see on this map the current zoo entry and kind of the layout. Again, we're just sort of moving the zoo out to these areas. Here's more detailed drawings that have been part of our outreach program. We've shared these with the community, showing the kinds of ideas for things we could do on these sites. In essence, the northern expansion area, really think of it as additional habitat, kind of an extension of the existing zoo site. We can, with that additional space, factor in another loop of exhibits past our existing Okapi that would allow us to kind of loop back, add in some animal habitats, enrich some of the existing things in that area. Then we also can create another loop over basically our existing reptile house lawn and the existing camp spaces, because of course, what we plan on doing is moving those educational functions across the street. And you can see there's some highlighted animal ideas, maybe in Australasia, maybe a tropical forest zone, maybe bringing back animals that we've lost like tiger. The possibilities are in some ways endless. And our response to what the conservation needs are in the AZA, as well as the opportunities that might present themselves to us to bring animals back or to expand the family habitats of animals we already have. The former pony ride area, as I mentioned, the concept for this area is essentially an education campus. We would move our camp and some of our school group functions across the street. We'd also provide some of the interactions with what we would consider kind of our ambassador animals, for those of you who've gotten to do that at the zoo, and add some other smaller habitats. Really the idea being that this is an outdoor educational campus for students and adults. Of course, one of the things we've also looked at is adding another building structure so we can have some additional class and educational space and have some flexibility in terms of planning. For those of you who know, we only have one real covered area for events and meetings at the current site. And so again, the vision for this area is an education zone. We welcome 50,000 students for school groups every year, having a dedicated drop-off area, having a landing space for them that isn't on the street or crossing the street all intermittently. We think all of these will be a benefit to not just the students, but obviously, generally speaking, Lamb Park and the zoo, and able to process things and have them safer and more controlled in the future. So when we left here with the approval of the MOU, we were tasked with engaging in community engagement to make sure people knew about our plan and that we solicited feedback from members of the community about what this looked like and whether they wanted to see the zoo expand in Lamb Park. And we did quite a bit of that. First of all, we hosted a website where we put all sorts of information about upcoming events where people could get engaged, documents, information, and even a link where they could express their vote for how they felt about the expansion, and we maintained that survey. We also had a number of digital communications that we sent out. We sent an email to zoo members, reaching 20,000 people. You can see we reached over 200,000 people with email communications to give them a chance to learn about our plans and obviously to contact us and provide their feedback, including educators, because of course, again, a big piece of this is expanding our education campus. We also took advantage of some free press from the media. We sent out a press release and we got some excellent coverage from our local media, and they've continued to provide coverage of our activities throughout the summer, and so that of course helps people to learn what we're doing as well. And we sent out a postcard mailing for those who don't read their email. We sent that to neighboring residences and the zip codes, including the zoos and those surrounding, again, to make sure people had a chance to know what we were up to and provide feedback. And of course, we did a number of in-person engagements and also a webinar. We did so many that we couldn't fit them on one slide, including our 3 meetings with a working group that involved the Lamb Park Community Association, the South Lamb Park Association, and a number of the neighborhood groups that had expressed an interest in providing feedback. Those meetings each went about an hour and a half. We held them at the zoo. We did 2 walkthroughs of the expansion area as part of that and provided opportunities along with city staff to cover the various topics associated with the expansion. We also had tables at our community events at the zoo throughout the summer and signage, again, for people to provide more feedback. Like I said, it goes on and on. We did our webinar, we presented to the Parks Commission and the Preservation Commission. Again, just trying to make sure people had a chance to know what we were up to and tell us what they thought about it. One of the last things we want to leave you with is those surveys. We had over 1,000 completed surveys, and some of the notable responses when we asked, in your opinion, how important is it for Sacramento to retain and improve our local zoo? Over 90% said very important, and then another 7% said somewhat important. So 97% clearly support the idea of improving and retaining our local zoo. Another important question, based on what you know, do you support the proposed expansion of the operational footprint? Again, you can see an overwhelming yes response. And it also notes on here, if we had any responses that indicated people wanted more information, we sent them more information. Again, we tried to make sure people had what they needed in order to provide feedback. Some themes of the community input that we received through all of these various outlets. One thing that was a key concern, certainly of some of our local neighborhood groups, was historical resources. Just as an overview, the historical areas of concern were the Swanston statue and the neighboring area around it and the view from it toward Lamb Park, the Camellia Garden that exists in the pony ride parcel, I'll say, and then of course the pony ride operation that used to be there. Going through those in order, the first thing we did before we even started community engagement was we took the Swanston statue area out of our proposed expansion. We did lose a little bit of space in doing that, but we thought it was important to kind of start this process without having that be a focus of concern. And so we modified the existing footprint for the proposal to take it out. With respect to the Camellia Garden, we've been in touch with the leadership at the Camellia Society, and they've indicated that they're supportive of us incorporating that space into the zoo and are willing, excited to work with us to kind of find a way to honor the historic significance of the Camellia Garden. So they'll be working with us to do that in some way on that education campus. And then, of course, the final issue, the pony ride operation itself, as I believe, well, we talked about this for the MOU, the existing infrastructure has already gone, and so there isn't anything left there with respect to preservation. Other issues that came up, the impact on existing trees is something we're asked about. Obviously, we enjoy the tree canopy at the zoo. We are looking forward to and trying to incorporate preserving that canopy as much as we can. It helps people who visit. It helps our animals to have some shade. We have even done that, as you saw in the prior design, by trying to put the location of the one structure in the area that is the least densely built up with trees, right? So that's something that we are keeping in mind as we go through design. Other things that have come up, CEQA requirements and process. I anticipate you're going to hear from public comment some concerns about how we're designing or the impacts of the expansion. The bottom line with respect to all of that really is there is going to be an environmental review process that will look at those impacts, and those are really all comments on how that process will move forward and what we should keep in mind. We've collected that feedback. We'll be sharing it with our design team, and certainly we have heard that from members of the community who've raised it. Questions about traffic and parking and the pedestrian street crossing. As I mentioned earlier, we believe that this proposal will make it safer. We already have 50,000 students who come to the zoo every year for school groups, and now they are kind of staged in the park and crossing the street intermittently. A dedicated drop-off area hopefully will reduce that sort of chaos of parking during drop-off, not just for school groups, but for our camp operations and other educational programs. So again, we've taken that into account. We're actually looking for improving those issues with this expansion. The pedestrian street crossing, I'll leave it to the city to help us out with that. But the punchline is, of course, we know the crosswalk that's existing now is not perhaps the best because you have to kind of do a double cross. But again, that's something that we are, looking forward to talking with the city with as we figure out the best way to take advantage of that area. Impact on attendance is something else we've been asked. The punchline on that really is we don't expect a material change to our attendance. As many of you probably know, when we have a baby animal or a new habitat or something built at the zoo, we get a bump in attendance. That's the reality of it. We enjoy that. When we have bad weather or hot weather or a fire, we get a dip in attendance. The realities are that our attendance generally goes up and down depending on factors that we can't always control. When we look at this expansion, we don't expect a material change to our annual attendance. We do expect, going to the next bullet point, an increase potentially in our revenue, but that's really going to come from things like when we build a new habitat, we can build a behind-the-scenes experience into it. For those of you who've maybe been to see our rhino or seen our cheetahs get fed, when we build new habitats, we can build in those kinds of opportunities, and let's be honest, people pay for them. And so we do envision getting some additional revenue from that, as well as from enhancing some of the educational programs we're doing now, and of course, just having that the critical mass of things that people want to come see. And then finally, of course, final design and construction phasing. Assuming things go well today and we get the go-ahead, we will be engaging in more detailed design work and working through a final plan for environmental review and, of course, to plan for construction. So, next steps. Do you want to cover it, or do you want me to?
At this point, assuming approval today, the zoo will start working on a more refined design that will be able to carry forward and inform the CEQA and EIR process. They're going to look at potential projects on the original campus that have been deferred. Updates to the operating agreement. The existing operating agreement expires in June of 2028. So we've got just over a year and a half left on that. So we really need to start looking at what that next iteration is going to look like for the long term. And then the zoo will be focusing on fundraising opportunities starting very near future.
This afternoon.
That concludes your presentation?
That's it.
Thank you. We may have some questions for you, so don't go far. But now let's proceed with public comment. I think we have 15 speakers.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 15 speakers. The first is Daisy Ma, Christina Rogers, Lurie Stetson, Bruce Marwick, and then Lauren Fletcher. And please feel free to line up in the aisle. Daisy Ma is our first speaker, then Christina, then Lurie, then Bruce.
Hello, I'm Daisy Ma. I was employed with the City of Sacramento Parks for 25 years, and I love gardening, so I tried to enhance it with flower gardens, including the WPA Rock Garden and the Lotus, which you may be familiar with. And I continued to volunteer for the past 14 years. As you have heard, Land Park is about 100 years old. Mr. William Land, once an indentured servant, became a man of wealth and left money to establish the park. And soon after breaking ground, a small zoo went in, and the Swanston statue was erected. The artist was Ralph Stackpole. One of his fountains is across the street at Cesar Chavez. It was during the Depression when the WPA program was instrumental in transforming the park, now a regional destination with many distinctive features. With hammers, pickaxes, and wheelbarrows, the workers sculpted the Swanson Terrace hillside into what it is now a site of elegant, rustic, tranquil beauty with use of its iconic granite cobbles. There's a delightful water feature that's been.
Thank you for your comments. Your 2 minutes is complete. Our next speaker is Christina Rogers, then Lurie Stetson. And I want to remind you, there's timers are on the screens behind me.
Good afternoon, City Council. The Land Park Community Association is proud to support a zoo expansion as long as it balances space with other valued amenities and activities like Fairy Tale Town, the golf course, Funderland, baseball games, large events, and family gatherings. This means the zoo must acknowledge how an expansion will impact traffic, parking, and pedestrian safety. At a July workshop with the community and zoo leadership, our traffic concerns were slightly rebuffed. Elizabeth Stollard, board president of the Zoological Society, expressed they didn't expect attendance to increase much. This is confusing due to Ms. Stollard's presentation to the city's Preservation Commission last month, clearly stating their goals to increase attendance. Which is it? And yes, if it means a solution costs money, that's how it goes, add it to the plan. William Land Park is over 100 years old and was never designed to manage the park traffic it has today. Weekends and holidays are the heaviest. What about regular shuttles then? Those shuttles can bring visitors from nearby parking areas like under WX or City College. How about incentives for locals to take the bus, which stops in front of the zoo? Maybe the city can help with a solution too. I ask you to visit William Land Park on a weekday if you haven't lately. Sit under the wisteria at Swanson Stream and listen to the fountain. Have a local beer at the golf course on the patio. Sit by the pond and feed the ducks or watch a neighborhood baseball game. Then go back on a holiday weekend like Labor Day this coming weekend. Our park is meant to be a peaceful green space for everyone to enjoy. Adding concrete and squeezing more cars in is the opposite of that. Ask yourself, if you ignore this issue, what will William Land Park look like 100 years from now? Please support the park's long-term integrity with a contract including viable solutions for parking and traffic. Thank you very much.
Next speaker is Larry Stetson, then Bruce Marwick, then Lauren Fletcher.
Thank you. Louise Stetson with the Upper Land Park Neighbors Association. Again, we support a zoo expansion if it's balanced between the park's needs and the zoo's needs. Our comments are submitted in a letter that you got from all three neighborhood associations. We want to ensure that the zoo is successful without unnecessarily and prematurely impacting historic William Land Park. We're happy to see the operating agreement amendment states that the expansion areas will not become part of the zoo unless the society fulfills all applicable CEQA requirements as approved by the council. However, there is still no requirement that the society provide evidence to the city that funding is available to complete construction in an expansion area. The proposed amendment allows the society to begin construction. Then, if the city determines the society is not able to complete its activities, the city can take the land back after the park has been changed. Page 2, bullet 3 states failure by the society to diligently pursue such improvements after approval shall constitute grounds for the city in its sole discretion to withdraw all or a portion of the area. While the above language is beneficial, determining if funding is available before construction begins would help prevent the above from happening, unnecessarily damaging the historic park, and a more stable approach to expansion. At the July 16th workshop, the society said they would proceed in phases when funds are available. Since this is their commitment, why not put it into the agreement? Language should be adopted that says construction in each area shall begin after the city determines the society has the funding to complete construction in each expansion area. Construction with each expansion area can be done in phases. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Next speaker is Bruce Marwick, then Lauren Fletcher.
And yes, if possible, in comments for today, could the map from the community group be brought up by chance? Is that a possibility? All righty. I see. Okay. Good afternoon, council members. My name is Bruce Marwick, and I'm a member of the Upper Land Park Community Association and was a participant on the Sacramento Zoo Expansion Working Group. I'm here to advocate for the Swanson Statue and Gardens on the north side of the zoo. While the zoo's expansion plan currently excludes the Swanson area, its proposed fence lines come uncomfortably close to the garden seating areas and in some cases directly cuts off walking paths. Community members and ULPN have recently submitted an alternate site plan with a revised fence line. This proposed fence line would allow the Swanson Gardens to have more open space and preserve several heritage trees that provide shade. Our recommended site plan will preserve important WPA New Deal era features, such as a historic granite bench and stone retaining walls. Finally, the plan will maintain the functionality of the Swanson Gardens. Paths that are now at risk of being cut off due to the zoo's expansion can be realigned to connect with each other. This simple redesign would add to the overall functionality and user experience in the gardens. Hopefully, the Sacramento City Council will support our recommendations for a site plan that supports the Swanson Statue and Gardens as a dynamic resource for William Land Park for visitors in the future. Thank you.
Next speaker is Lauren Fletcher, then Arthur Scotland.
Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Lauren Fletcher, and I'm an assistant professor of teacher education at California State University Stanislaus, and I'm here today as both an educator and community partner with the Sacramento Zoo, and as a parent whose child has grown up participating in the zoo programs. In my work preparing future educators, I've had the opportunity to partner with the Sacramento Zoo's education team. Our teacher candidates have learned firsthand that some of the most powerful learning happens when children can see, touch, question, wonder, and make connections to the world around them. At the zoo, our future teachers have had the opportunity to visit the zoo, and in that trip, they see what it means to turn a field trip into a living classroom. They experience how literacy, science, conservation, and inquiry can come together in ways that make learning memorable and meaningful. And those experiences do not just stop with future teachers themselves. They carry those ideas into the classroom and reach hundreds and eventually thousands of children throughout their careers. Lucky for me, I also get to see the zoo through the eyes of a parent. My child has participated in everything from Little Peeps preschool programming to summer camps. I've watched those experiences nurture a genuine joy and curiosity among the natural world. I have also seen something else that I think is incredibly important, a sense of belonging and pride. This is her zoo. This is part of her community, and she feels connected to it. Expanding dedicated space for education would create opportunities for more children, families, teachers, and future teachers to experience that same sense of curiosity, connection, and possibility. The Sacramento Zoo is not simply a place where our community comes to see animals. It's a place where our community learns, wonders, and grows. Thank you.
Thank you. Arthur Scotland, then Rick Stevenson, then Dale Claypool.
Good afternoon, City Council members. My name is Arthur Scotland. Born in Sacramento, raised 1 block north of William Land Park, lived there all through my childhood, and for almost my entire adult life have lived within about 3 blocks from the zoo. I can tell you that, and I think you know this, that the Sacramento Zoo is such a valuable asset not only for the neighborhood, but for the entire city of Sacramento. And as a member of the zoo's Board of Trustees, I know it is absolutely necessary to expand the footprint of the Sacramento Zoo so that it continue to fulfill its missions of education, conservation, recreation, and also to meet the evolving standards, the AZA standards, to continue to have iconic animals and species there that are endangered. I also have talked to many people in the neighborhood who strongly support this proposal to expand. So I urge you to also vote to adopt this change that really is necessary so that the zoo could stay in Land Park and that the Board of Directors won't have to look at some other alternatives. Thank you.
Next speaker is Rick Stevenson, then Dale Claypool.
Yeah, Rick Stevenson. I'm one of the founders of the Land Park Volunteer Corps in 2010. I'm wearing a hat from that year, a little faded, but my efforts in the Swanston Stream go back. The operation got it back into operation after decades of abandonment. Received a Tree Hero Award from the Sacramento Tree Foundation for getting free oak specialist services to successfully save a dying huge oak several hundred years old that is the backdrop for the Swanston statue. The city was going to remove the tree rather than save it. I'm one of several here with long association with the Swanston area. I would like to thank the zoo for months back accepting my suggestion to leave the Swanston Monument, Garden, and Stream out of the zoo fence line and instead utilize vacant land north of the zoo entrance along Land Park Drive in exchange. And it seems that my suggestion of the south part of the Pony Ride area that has the best tree canopy in the William Land Park has been accepted. The original zoo map proposal seemed to indicate a lot of logging in that area. It is extremely important that neighborhood organizations continue as a working group with the zoo, sharing information until the project is completed. We have made a start, but there remains a myriad of details to be worked out. Some have felt that information has been withheld by the zoo in the process thus far. Transparency is essential for a successful zoo expansion with a minimum of contention.
Next speaker is Dale Claypool, then Blake Stevenson.
Mayor and council members, my name is Dale Claypole, a member and former president of the Land Park Community Association and a member of the Land Park Volunteer Corps. There are two wonderful community assets impacted by the proposal before you. On the one hand, the Sacramento Zoo, and on the other, and equally important, William Land Park. It's crucial that in taking action to improve one asset, in this case the zoo, harm is not done to the other, William Land Park. We were hopeful that by participating in the work group process laid out in the MOU, we could resolve most potential problems. Unfortunately, that did not happen. You may recall that in April, the zoo distributed detailed drawings of what they hoped to accomplish via expansion, and saw them again here. I think they're pretty much, with the one exception, unchanged. We assumed that that would be the basis of our meetings, and we would have a back and forth discussion on the pros and cons and just explanation. We were surprised that when we posed a question, the usual response was that these are simply concepts that may change once the council approves the expansion. So there was really no point in discussing it. This happened repeatedly on a number of questions and was frustrating to all of us. For example, what are now being described as conceptual drawings included the addition of 18 concrete parking spaces for staff in what is currently open green space. We recognize that one or two may be needed for veterinarian services, but what about the others? No response. It's just conceptual. It may change once this passes. We hope that as this goes forward, this and many other issues get addressed through the CEQA process, and that there is real community participation in that effort. In closing, some of you may recall Joni Mitchell's song from years past, which includes the famous lyrics, "Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone?" They
Thank you
paved
for your
paradise
comments.
and
Your
put up...
time is complete. Our next speaker is Blake Stevenson, then Brooke Coe.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council, and Manager. I am Blake Stevenson. It is a pleasure to appear before you again. I ask that you consider the comments in my recent letter to all of you. That letter is also included in the formal comments to this item. Attention should be given to the future needs of the zoo to grow, but not at the expense of Land Park's signature features, such as Swanston Terrace Gardens. One park user is named Jay Rudin, who wrote a comment to this item with a map and photos attached. Examine the comment, and you will see the problem. With the staff and the zoo's map before you for approval today, important parts of the gardens will be either ripped out or walled off. Views will be blocked. Pathways will be stubbed off. Picture setting in one of the rock gazebos, sitting there yourself, with the wisteria around you and an 8-foot cyclone fence right behind you, blocking lovely views that citizens have enjoyed for almost 1 century. This is destroying or interfering with a part of Land Park. I believe that it would be better I believe that it would be better to leave the Swanston Terrace Gardens, all of it, just as it is, and to have the zoo expand at the pony site. But please give serious consideration to the other proposal before you, to shift the zoo's fence lines on both sides of the gardens to leave more of the gardens in their place. That will protect more walking paths, the plants and the trees, and some great views for everyone. All of these have been enjoyed for almost 100 years and should be for 100 years more. The zoo can still take in more Land Park. It can still expand without hurting this beautiful place. Thank you.
Next speaker is Brooke Coe, then Michael Sweet. I have 5 more speakers.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. My name is Brooke Coe, and I'm the Director of Education at the Sacramento Zoo. But today I am providing a voice for one of our amazing teen volunteers that wanted to be here, but made the responsible choice to stay in school. So this is her prepared statement. My name is Isabella Tang. I am a senior at Pleasant Grove High, and I have been a teen volunteer at the Sacramento Zoo since 2024. Unfortunately, I'm not able to come to today's meeting since I'm at school, but I still wanted to express my support for the zoo's expansion. Volunteering at the zoo for 3 years now, I have seen so much growth in my personal and professional life, as well as the lives of the people who volunteer alongside me. When I began volunteering, I had no calling towards any one profession or career. I started out as a summer camp counselor, just wanting to get my community service hours over and done with. The first day I ever volunteered was my first ever working experience. It was an 8 to 5 shift, 100 degrees out, and was a challenge to say the least. But watching these kids' faces light up from interacting with the animals and learning new things about our natural world made me want to come back. I came back the next day, which turned into the next week, the next month, the next season, the next year, which turned into me writing this letter to you all today. I truly fell in love with this zoo and found mentors who genuinely want to see me be successful in life. Volunteering at the Sacramento Zoo has fundamentally changed my life for the better. I've learned about work experience, responsibility, future careers, and how to protect our planet. It helped me figure out that there's a career for me out there, specifically in protecting the world and the people in it, and I now wish to pursue a career as an environmental lawyer. The zoo's expansion will not only impact families and guests, but the future of young people in Sacramento. By providing the zoo with the ability to expand, beneficial programs like the Camp Counselor and Zoo Team programs will be able to reach even more young adults like me. Thank you.
Next speaker is Michael Sweet, then Pinky Cockrell, and Roman Ambroselli.
Thank you. I'm Michael Sweet, a biology professor at American River College here in Sacramento, and I strongly support this expansion. Over the past 24 years, I have brought literally thousands of college students to the Sacramento Zoo to learn from animals in a way that's just not possible in a traditional classroom. As I watched the zoo continue to improve over the decades, and as I learned more about all they do, so for animal welfare, for supporting conservation organizations internationally, for recreation, and all they do on the education side, serving kids in our community, I decided to become a zoo docent. Now I've grown even more impressed as I see the keepers and the educators and the veterinarians from a new angle as they work on behalf of Jackson the river otter and Peppermint Patty the capybara and her new babies and so on. But still, as we've heard, it's been in Land Park for about 100 years, and the accreditation standards for a quality zoo will only keep rising. They've done an amazing job, but the plot of land is too small. So I urge the council to support this expansion. As we've heard, the community survey results agree. More than 1,000 people responded, and over 90% said it was very important for Sacramento to retain and improve our local zoo by expanding its footprint. It's vital if the zoo is going to maintain economic viability and standards of excellence and keep thriving in that location for my students and for all of Sacramento. Thank you.
Next speaker is Pinky Cockrell, then Roman Ambroselli, then Janisa Geltima.
Hi, good afternoon, council members and community. I'm Pinky Cockrell, who has lived within footsteps of the zoo off and on since 1948. And so I have also been involved with a lot of these organizations around the zoo and been very involved in looking at other zoos and how they work. And I add my number to that that survey that I failed to submit. I very much urge the acceptance of this agreement with some cautions. My cautions are related, of course, to parking and intrusion of non-recreational or habitat features to the zoo. In other words, I'm seeing too much a close examination on looking at just the footprint within the zoo. You forget that there is property across the street from the zoo that you could lease some parking spaces from almost immediately. They could, and for remote parking for buses at possibly the old Rayleigh site. Telephone when you're ready to pick your group up. There is a building there that, what is the position of the 1250 Sutterville Road Business Center? It has a potential building on it that you could put a cute mural on it and it would stop the traffic. It would sort of expand the zoo without expanding it in the park.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our next speaker is Roman, then Janisa.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. My name is Roman Imbricelli, and I'm a resident of Land Park, born in Sacramento, also a board member and traffic safety chair of the Land Park Community Association. I want to begin by thanking both the city and the Zoological Society for collaborating with our community as we examine the future of the Sacramento Zoo. I believe the consensus is we all want the zoo to stay in Sacramento. But as neighbors, we must be clear-eyed about existing park conditions. William Land Park was designed a century ago, and its roads and footprint have long gone largely unchanged through the decades. To this day, Land Park still lacks basic bike lanes, proper crosswalks, and is battled being dominated by vehicle traffic. Today, 24 streets and 79 vehicle intersections are within or adjacent to the grounds. Yes, I counted those before I came here. Turning what could be a peaceful park into a greenbelt dissected by car traffic. Every day, families pushing strollers, children, and cyclists have virtually no respite from heavy speeding traffic cutting through the park in every direction. Whether this expansion draws thousands of additional visitors or simply keeps current crowds parked in our neighborhood for twice as long, changing the park's usage without addressing traffic will severely compound hazards. We cannot simply drop a multi-parcel footprint across an active roadway and expect existing traffic patterns to absorb it safely. During the community collaboration, our community work group outlined a lot of things, including maybe the zoo offering partial discounts to visitors who cycle, the city committing to fixing some of these nearby small issues, and even maybe temporary road closures on the weekends when there's a lot of visitors in the zoo. Please ensure that any future operating agreement doesn't simply expand the zoo's boundaries, but studies and addresses the impacts of the recreational uses of the park. We will continue to.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our final speaker is Janisa Jeltama.
Good afternoon. I'm here on behalf of Dr. Mark Stutter, who couldn't be here today. He's the Dean of the UC Davis Wheels School of Veterinary Medicine. My name is Dr. Janessa Jeltama. I'm a board-certified veterinary specialist in the field of zoological medicine. I'm an expert in managing the health and veterinary care of zoo animals. I am also an associate professor of clinical zoological medicine over at UC Davis. I'm the head veterinarian of the Sacramento Zoo, and on a personal note, I'm a resident and property owner just down the street in Midtown. I'd like to express that we are lucky to have a long-term partnership between the Sacramento Zoo and the UC Davis Wheels School of Veterinary Medicine, which is the top-ranked veterinary school in the nation. UC Davis and the Sacramento Zoo was the birthplace of the field of zoological medicine and continues to be a powerhouse in this field for veterinary students and residents. Through this partnership, we're able to provide high-quality veterinary care for the zoo's animal collection, but we're also able to provide valuable training and experience to veterinary students and residents that go on to contribute to leadership positions in the field of zoological medicine around the globe. The expansion at the Sacramento Zoo is incredibly important, and I'm here to express support for this expansion. The Sacramento Zoo conducts valuable work in the areas of conservation, public education, and facilitates important research related to zoological species. It also helps provide unique educational opportunities that benefit Sacramento, but it needs to expand in order to support its mission. Expansion would allow the zoo to make much-needed upgrades to animal habitats that facilitate and provide numerous benefits to animal health and well-being. More space ensures long-term viability of the zoo in Land Park, which in turn benefits important relationship between UC Davis and the Sacramento Zoo. Thank you.
Mayor, that concludes our public comment on this item.
Okay, thank you. We have Councilmember Jennings to start, but I want to begin by acknowledging and thanking Councilmember Jennings for working with the community and with our friends at the zoo to bring this forward today, which I think is a good compromise addressing the community issues, neighborhood issues, city issues, our desires for the zoo to move us forward. I think two things are clearly true here is that one, the zoo is going to be 100 years old next year, and it's a big deal that we've had this institution in Sacramento for a century. And the other thing, which is crystal clear, is the zoo was lost. It was gone. We had decided, you had decided, not you per se, but the zoo leadership that it didn't quite work in the current site and made plans to go to El Grove, and we were disappointed and saddened and trying to figure out what to do with that iconic piece of Sacramento in Land Park. And lo and behold, 5-6 years later come by, and you called me and a council member a year or so ago and said, hey, we think we can maybe make this work in Sacramento, but we can't have the same old zoo for the next 100 years. And so I want to acknowledge our city team working on this issue and the community for being open-minded. I think the community for years was nervous about what expansion could look like. And it was said earlier that impacting Fairy Tale Town, the golf course, the ball fields, the historic nature of the zoo. And I think we found a way how we can address both of those issues, keep intact the amazing regional park, which is an amenity for all of Sacramento, but also a neighborhood park for people in Land Park, and achieve the zoo's goals for the next century. And early on, the zoo came out with some potential ideas for expansion, and immediately we're pushed with some concerns. And so I appreciate the council office and the zoo for recognizing that would be concerning, focusing on expansion on the north and the historic Swanson statue. So taking that off of the table, I think, is a very important issue. Thank you for bringing that to our attention, Rick, a year ago. Because of you, we made that change. No, but that's okay. I'm just saying that. But we did listen to you and others, and I think it's important for us to see how we can have meaningful back and forth and impact on this. And I think it's not lost upon all of us up here who grew up here or have kids or grandkids or family members who have amazing memories of the zoo. I do. I remember going there when I was a kid. Certainly remember taking my kids there. Remember buying our first season pass for the zoo and going there quite often. Remember them dropping them off for their first summer camps back there. And I know everybody up here on this dais has those same memories, as do thousands of families in Sacramento today and going back for generations. And so, this sets in motion a win-win. I know there are still some unanswered questions, and some of the residents raised some issues that we're not going to incorporate them in our action item today, but noted, and we will certainly take those into consideration as this process proceeds. So with that, I'm in strong support and will second the motion by Mr. Jennings at the appropriate time. And with that, Councilmember Jennings.
Thank you, Mayor. So you cut my speech in half, and that's a good thing. I just want to let all of you know I'm excited to be here today. The Sacramento Zoo, as been said already, has been in our community for over 100 years. And the key message for me is what we do today lays the foundation for what will happen over the next 100 years. This is a critical juncture in where we are today, right now. And so I really appreciate all of you being here at this moment in time, because you will help us create history. And I think we all agree that William Land Park is a community asset. It's a crown jewel in our park system, whether it's the zoo, Funderland, fairy tale town, the golf course, athletic fields, the ponds, the quiet places like the Swanson Statue and Garden. It all gives our community a diversity of options. And I feel safely in saying that William Land Park is a unique resource in our city and in our region. Interestingly enough, it's the place where I coached my son in 1986. Started off, and some of you are shaking your heads because you were there at the same time, and he played for 10 years in there, and now I go back to the park and watch parents coach their kids or root for their kids, and I watch the same thing happening over and over and over again. And so it's a wonderful place for me to take my grandchildren and let them see what their father did many years ago. It's a wonderful asset to our neighborhood, to our communities, our city, and our region. It's an educational asset as it provides exposure and experience for over 70,000 kids each year through school trips. You heard that number, 70,000 kids per year. It also brings economic benefit to our city through jobs and visitors. But most importantly, Sacramento Zoo is community. It's a part of Land Park, and it's a part of all of us. Our community goes there regularly because it is us. It is Sacramento. The zoo and the city staff have met with the community through various community associations, the Volunteer Corps, Preservation Sacramento, and the parks. And during these 3 focus meetings, they've collectively heard the concerns from the community, which are all included in the staff report, which is before us today. I want you to know that we hear you. We know that there are alternatives and suggestions and ideas. Many of you have already pulled me aside, called me on my home number, text me, or however you got in touch with me. You got in touch with me to let me know how important it is that we listen to your ideas as we move forward. And we are listening. I promise you, we are listening. So there's going to be some that we're going to be able to move forward and some that we're not. I think we all know that. But we're going to do everything we can to move it forward once we make the decision of what we want to do next as a community. The commitment from city staff and the zoo is to include our community voice and make sure it continues throughout the expansion process, to make sure that we all are good neighbors as we go through this process. The inclusive community process for the expansion will be the foundation of our success. Today is a great step forward to a continued process for the zoo expansion. We've got a lot of work to do, a lot of work ahead of us, a CEQA review, community meetings, city commissions, as well as city council meetings. But there'll be plenty of opportunity for everyone to voice their support and/or voice their concern for this proposal and to make the zoo expansion a win for Land Park, for our city, for our region. I look forward to our collective efforts to keep the zoo here for the next 100 years and shape what we want the zoo to be over that next 100 years. I am in full support of this amendment and would like to move this item at this time. I'd like to move the item on the agenda.
Second. The motion is second. Councilmember Pluckybaum.
Thank you, Mayor. So what do you get a zoo for its 100th anniversary anyway? I know 25 years is silver and 50 is gold, 60 is diamond if you're lucky enough to get that far. Around its 40th anniversary, we gave them a little room to grow. That's Ruby, by the way, for those keeping score at home. It only seems fitting at this milestone that we would support our zoo again and make sure that it is viable and vibrant for the next 100 years. And I'm happy to support the motion.
Thank you. Councilmember Vice Mayor Talamantes.
Thank you. I'm also happy to support the motion made by Councilmember Jennings. I'm really excited for the zoo. I mean, I've gone with everyone, my 91-year-old grandma, my 2-year-old godson, and the zoo is for everyone. And especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, it was open for us to go and check it out, and it was a safe place. And you guys just made it so memorable for so many people here in Sacramento. And I'm just so happy lucky that we get to keep our zoo. As many of you know, in Natomas, a few years ago, we had We Want a Zoo movement to be able to build a zoo there in the Arco Arena. Then we lost it to Elk Grove, and now here we have it back here in Sacramento. And so for me, it's just a point of privilege. I think it's an amenity. I think it's an economic driver. I think it's educational, and it's wonderful for our Sacramento region. So excited for the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Guerra.
Thank you, Mayor. Like many of you, the zoo has such a special place in our hearts. And so, right off the bat, I do support our zoo. I support moving forward here and also sharing the memories. I mean, this summer, on side of being just zoo members and going throughout the year, but this summer watching my second kid do his summer camp. Javier was already used to the zoo camp, but having him go with his younger brother was just an amazing experience to be able to share their experience of, visiting the meerkats and then their neighbors, the giraffe, right next door, and seeing those two at the same time. But also as a parent, I also recognize the challenges that some of the neighbors face. I mean, when you drive down there, and particularly in the morning at drop-off, parking is an issue. And so I think there's an opportunity for us, as this process moves forward, to address those issues, not just for, obviously, us parents that are going to participate in it, but also for those who are there supporting the zoo every day as neighbors as well. So I'm excited about moving forward, looking at the amenities. You have to get started. You got to take one step forward as we go through this process, and I just encourage that the society, Zoological Society, work with the neighbors earnestly to address these issues. And I thought there was some creative ideas that were proposed about how to look at the parking and maybe how we can benefit the other businesses in the area. So I'm encouraged by it. I'm excited by it, and excited for our kids to continue to join in their annual, not just membership, but zoo camp every year. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Kaplan.
Thank you, Mayor. Ditto, 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 ditto. I think, the city of Sacramento should know, just like my girls grew up and going to the zoo camp and, participating in the drop-off, but also going out to Land Park, and seeing in the morning just the little bit of traffic chaos. But as we in this dais, it's really important that we create, safe roads. Love to have it where more people could bike safely and come to the zoo. Crossing the street from parking is fairly scary. How can we make that safer? And I think when we talk about the zoo expansion, which is definitely deserved, it opens up that possibility that we can talk about what is traffic calming measures we can put in, how can we make it safer, and how can we make it safer if people want to bike, where there's places potentially for them to store their bikes, as well as expanding the educational outcome. I will tell you, I did a staff retreat at the Sacramento Zoo because not only did I want to see firsthand what the expansion looked like, but I felt it was important to my staff that we understand what does it mean. And the zoo staff that I met, the care that everybody absolutely loves their animals and thinks their area is the best area. Knowing that our rhino, Jay Gregory, you don't pet Jay Gregory, you give him a good smack. His skin is that thick and that leathery, but also going behind the scenes and seeing how our cheetah brothers are taken care of with their medical diagnostic and the training, but knowing that if we can expand, open that up for other people to understand the importance of conservation. And, it's that conflict. Should we have a zoo? Should we not have a zoo? But knowing the good work that the City of Sacramento Zoo does, the Zoological Society, this is a perfect time to understand there's a balance in everything, but the zoo absolutely must expand. And I just want to thank the zoo and I know we have a couple of city employees there, but people fight to get their application in to work for the Sacramento Zoo. I talked to somebody that applied for years
and will end their career at the Sacramento Zoo. And that says a lot about what we've created here, and it deserves to stay. So thank you, Councilmember Jennings, for your leadership and time and effort, and thank you to all the residents for speaking up and making sure that we can create this a balance and a win for everyone.
Thank you. Councilmember Dickinson.
Thanks, Mayor. Without doubt, the zoo is a signature asset, not just for the city of Sacramento, but for the region and for all the reasons that have been articulated by others. I also support exploring the expansion of the zoo, but I do think at the same time it is important, as some others have noted, to emphasize the considerations I think that are important in that process, and those considerations I think have been very well articulated in the letter, the joint letter of the three neighborhood organizations that we've received, and I'm sure you have received as well. I think that it is important in scoping the environmental document to look at these broader issues of transportation, of parking, of preserving the tree canopy, and of the grounds themselves, where exactly that fence line might be, to, as a number of speakers put it, make sure that we retain the balance between the zoo and the historic aspects of the park, as well as the many other uses. I also would favor some kind of continuing working group or its analog throughout the process to make sure that there is a continuing line of direct and open communication among the parties about this as it proceeds. So I think it is clearly worth continuing on, but it needs to be done in that context that I think many of us have emphasized, that there are numerous different interests here, and we need to respect, honor, and serve those diverse interests to the greatest extent possible. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. That concludes our debate up here. I think everyone has kind of nodded or spoken in favor of this, and I know we're going to have, it seems, a favorable vote. And I did mention to some that I thought this was going to be a unanimous 9-0 vote today. We only have 8 people, but I do want to note that the one person absent today, Councilmember Maple, is on maternity leave. She's going to have her baby any moment, any day now. But she was super excited about this zoo and talked about how she looks forward to taking her family there. And I will make sure she has a season pass for her family for year 1 at least. So with that, on behalf of a appreciative city that wants to work with the zoo and the community to make sure we get this right for the next century, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any noes or abstentions? Hearing none, item passes. Thank you.
We move to item number 16, which is a grant agreement with Urban Capital LLC for the Rio Linda Senior Housing Home Key Plus project.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Council. Yayan Isle, the City Housing Manager with the city's Economic Development Department. The item before you today is to execute a grant agreement with Urban Capital LLC for the development of the Rio Linda Senior Housing Project. In May of 2025, the City Council authorized the submittal of a joint application for state Home Key Plus funding for the Rio Linda Senior Housing Project at 2809 to 2821 Rio Linda Boulevard. The City of Sacramento and Urban Capital, who is the developer and co-applicant with us for this project, subsequently submitted an application to the state for 100 units of permanent supportive housing for seniors and senior veterans. And that includes 2 manager units as well as 15 units for Alta California Regional Center clients who serve individuals with developmental disabilities. These 100 units of permanent supportive housing will utilize Boss Homes' 240 square foot units, each containing bathrooms and kitchenettes. Site amenities at the site include free internet, laundry room, storage units, private office space, community gathering spaces, garden, dog park, and other on-site office spaces for property management, security, and case management. On July 23rd, 2026, the governor announced that the city's conditional award of Home Key Plus funds in the amount of $31.8 million for this project. As the city works with the State Department of Housing and Community Development on a standard agreement, exhibits, and other documents and forms required for the funding, Urban Capital has begun the design and engineering process to prepare for planning entitlement submittal. As Urban Capital begins to incur costs to prepare plans for submittal, we anticipate that it could be a couple more months before the state home key funding is available to fund project costs. As such, the city is recommending approval today of this item, which will execute a grant agreement with Urban Capital for pre-development costs in the amount of $786,000. This grant would be funded by HAP4 permanent supportive housing funds that were previously committed to this project by the City Council. Future council items on this project that will be forthcoming include the standard agreement with the state for the $31.8 million award, as well as a contract for the lead service provider for this project. At this time, I would like to introduce John Vinocci, the managing partner with Urban Capital, to introduce himself and say a few words.
Thank you, Yayan. Good afternoon, Mayor, members of the City Council, John Vignoki. Nice to meet all of you for the first time. Just kidding. Urban Capital is my development firm. We're focused on trying to find creative ways to deliver capitally efficient, dignified, affordable housing for Sacramento's workforce, everyday Sacramentans, and also for our unhoused population. I want to thank Mayor McCarty for being very receptive to our concerns around the traditional costs of permanent supportive housing, and also being very open-minded about trying to push the city and the state to find new creative ways to deliver this type of housing, especially without vouchers and other challenges that are facing a lot of folks in this industry right now. And so we're really excited to deliver a new, innovative kind of way of delivering this housing at a step, kind of fraction of the cost as traditional permanent supportive housing projects. So this really wouldn't have been able to be possible without the strong partnership with Yayan, Axel, Brian Pedro, and others, and the mayor, and of course, Councilmember Dickinson as well, being a great liaison with our community. And yeah, we're really excited. The project's headed in the right direction in terms of cost, and hopefully we will deliver this project on time, before schedule and under budget. And we're trending in a good direction so far. So thank you.
All right, that concludes our overview, and we are available for questions.
Okay, we'll come back. We have one public comment.
Thank you. Annabelle Gonzalez.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. I am here to speak on item 16. If we are investing and recruiting the right people to work for this city, I hope we are also recruiting people who think ahead, ask questions, and understand how city decisions affect the people who live here. Because sometimes common sense starts with simply looking at what's around you. So take a walk with me. In the future, walking daycare kids to Sundance Lake, little feet, little voices, holding the rope. One child points, "Teacher, what are those little buildings?" What would you say if that were your child? Those would be the proposed tiny homes at 3511 Arena Boulevard, less than 500 feet from where they could play. That is where Measure O becomes more than words on paper. Measure O told voters shelter space would stay 1,000 feet from a licensed daycare. We can argue about 500 feet or 1,000 feet, but no number replaces common sense. Children do not understand buffers. They trust us to think ahead. I saw trash outside every shelter I visited. At Roseville Road, a half-dressed older man dug through trash steps from a shelter costing millions. Parents deserve verified answers about needles, sex offender screening, cleanup, and safety outside the fence. This is not turning our backs on people experiencing homelessness. Seniors and veterans deserve dignity and a roof. Vote yes on item 16. Rio Linda, got 3 council votes. Arena got none. Even item 6 gave nearby neighbors notice and a vote. But Arena is the wrong location. The city's own records show that the site is in a flood zone and raising serious questions about drainage and rising water. Stop looking at the map, put your child on that sidewalk, put your grandchild in that park. Would 500 feet suddenly feel different? Would 1,000? Would 2,000? Good government is having the courage to ask. Legally, we may be able to do this, but is this the right place? I believe you are making a mistake, and I want that on the record. I'll keep showing up, asking questions, and fighting for these kids because they are worth fighting for.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Mayor, I have no more speakers on this item.
Thank you. We have one council member that wishes to speak, but Roger, if you don't mind, if I'd like to go first. And we approved this to ask for the grant a little over a year ago, and I really want to recognize and appreciate you because you asked that we delay it so we could engage with the community, because this is a site, tiny homes for homeless. That's what we went after for the Prop 1 grant. And I think it's true that we need to look at the fair share issue. And one thing that you recognized is, yes, this is an opportunity to receive state funds. There is a homelessness response needed, but having city policies that have our facilities located throughout the city wasn't lost upon us that moment. And as we go forward, we'll certainly keep that under consideration. But you know, this is something that we are grateful for. There are many cities that applied and that did not receive these Prop 1 resources. We advocated with the state director and tightened up our application to make sure we increase our chances for success. And I concur with Mr. Vignoci that you know, we can't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. And this is a nice, whether it's a Honda Civic, maybe this is an Accord solution, but certainly not a Cadillac solution, but allows us to maximize our public resources and get people off the streets in this location that's been vacant for decades. And so I think this is good policy for the city of Sacramento, and I want to really acknowledge you, Mr. Dickinson, for leaning in and focusing on what's right for the city and something that's sometimes difficult for your district which you represent. Thank you. Mr. Dickinson?
Well, thank you, Mayor, for those comments. They are very much appreciated, and even more so, I appreciate the members of the surrounding community who were not enthused about this project at the outset, to say the least, but they were willing to engage in discussions both with the city staff and with the proponent, and find, I think, what we have come to conclude is a good approach. You're absolutely right about the benefit of the state funding that we were able to secure for this. And so I really give credit to those in the community who may have, at first blush, said that this was not something they wanted to see near their homes or near their children or anyone else, and yet they have come to view this as a potential asset to the community. So it's an illustration, I think, of what can happen when people are willing to look at how we help those who are certainly less well off than we are, and do it in the context of accommodating them in our own community. And I think that's hopefully a train of thinking that will be dominant across the city as well. The one thing, John, that I wanted, it's really not so much a question. I know that the neighbors are still interested in a continuing dialogue as we go into refining the design of the facility and some of the other operating issues. And I make the assumption that you're perfectly open to doing that. So you can nod your head, and I'll take that as a yes, or you can shake it, and then you'll have to come to the podium and answer some more questions. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, happy to always work with the community to maximize the value of our developments. So, yeah.
Great, thank you. I mean, I know there's it's just some things that I think we can successfully address, and some of them have to do with the city requirements as well. So
There's
So,
a couple of issues there with the security that we have implemented a healthy security budget for 24/7 security operations in addition to cameras on the exterior. And so I think that lot will be much more secure. Right now it's, kind of a dumping ground for illegal dumping and things. And I think it'll be transformational for that parcel. So I think
I think it's going to make a huge beneficial difference, actually, and as we will see once we have this constructed and operating and taking care of people who, in many cases, are exposed to the elements and other significant risks now. And I think we have to keep that in mind as well, that we're helping a lot of people. So thank you, Mayor. With that, I will be happy to move the staff recommendation.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion. I will second that. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any noes or abstentions? Hearing none, item passes.
Item passes. Absent is Maple, Pluckybaum, and Guerra. We now move to council comments, ideas, questions. Seeing none queued up to speak. City Manager, do you have a report?
Thank you, Mindy. South Sacramento levee improvements. So the Sacramento Area Flood Control Agency is seeking input on proposed improvements to about 3 miles of the Morris Creek and Beach Lake levee. The improvements are designed to strengthen the flood control system, and residents can review the environmental study and submit comments through September the 2nd at safca.org. That again, that's through September the 7th at sfca.org. Camp Sacramento 2027 registration is open. You need to get online quickly as some sessions are already full, but some cabins remain open, and these are on a first come, first served basis. So you can go to campsac.org to register. The Office of Arts and Culture is offering 450 professional development scholarships to artists living within Sacramento city limits. Each scholarship is valued at $100 and covers one approved course, class, or workshop. Applications are open through September the 21st or until all scholarships are claimed. Front Street Foster Homes is seeking foster families for kittens mainly, and they're kittens with upper respiratory infections. To date, we have 1,390 cats that have been placed in foster homes, including 1,257 kittens that are under 8 weeks old. So if you would like to support our Front Street Animal Shelter and adopt some kittens, I think I see some people over there who already want some. No. Battery, this is a reminder for battery recycling. Please, for household batteries, if you could keep them out of the curbside garbage and recycling containers. Improperly discarded batteries can cause fires in our collection trucks and waste sorting facilities. Residents can recycle household batteries for free at several locations throughout the city and use the SAC Recycling Waste Wizard to find appropriate disposal locations. Thank you.
Councilmember Bain. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Just wanted to let folks know, yesterday we had the unveiling of an incredible mural textile embroidery art piece, 30 feet by 8 feet at the North Laguna Valley High Library by a Palestinian, Hmong, and Filipino artist. If you have not yet had a chance to check it out, please do. The project is called Threads of Belonging, and it is a beautiful art project that has taken over 2 years to get to this moment. I really just wanted to take a moment to thank the Office of Arts and Culture, and particularly Donald, for the great work that he did with our community to get to this moment. So just really wanted to send my appreciation and congratulations to the 3 local artists, Ren, Jamie, and Pachia. Just wanted to say congratulations again. An invitation to the entire community to go to the North Laguna Valley High to see this beautiful mural at the library. Thank you.
Vice Mayor, we now move to public comment for matters not on the agenda, and I have 10 speakers. The first is Lambert Davis, Noah Thompson, Daisy Ma, Cheryl Davis, and Shelley Hudson.
Excuse me, they didn't say my name. Are you scratching me again?
You can check with the clerk, please. Mr. Davis, it's your turn to speak.
Okay. First of all, I'm going to give some shouts out to the rostrum. It may shock some of you. First of all, to Mr. Pluckybomb, I heard him say something earlier that touched me. And Mr. Dickerson and also the mayor and the city manager should duplicate what he said. He said 50, 60 years. I think he even said it was diamond, he called it. Well, here we are here now in Del Paso Heights with an 80-year anniversary, which was 2 Sundays ago. I think the city should reach out to this organization. I talked to them. I actually grew up there. I saw people there that were 100 years old. Some of them were 80-something. And of course, they were proud of the cheesecake because most of them are from the Deep South. In the Deep South, they couldn't even start their own business, and they couldn't come up and talk to you like I do because they might have been killed in the Deep South for that. So I think this city should do something for this group besides come over there and try to get votes when it's time for election. This is a wonderful organization. 80 years. As a matter of fact, 80 years ago is when my parents moved here in 1946, and they bought a home. And at the same time, our family's been paying property taxes for 80-plus years, and we have a business here in Sacramento that has not been able to receive 1 penny of Measure U funding. And Measure U funding was supposed to be for underserved communities, which we founded our cheesecake business. Now, today, the millennials had me on a Zoom. This should motivate you now. And the Zoom was a global offer to our family. It's a global deal. I didn't even understand it till I got there. But when I left there, I understood it. But shout out to...
Thank you for your comments. Noah Thompson. I don't see Noah. Daisy Ma, I believe, has already left. Cheryl Davis. Following Cheryl is Shelley Hudson, then Annabelle Gonzalez, then Ella Roberts.
Good afternoon. My name is Cheryl Davis, volunteer with Moms Demand Action. As a Moms Demand Action volunteer, and many of us we actually lived at the Capitol for 9 months, advocating for increased CalVIP funding. When we learned the Office of Violence Prevention had not applied in previous cycles for that funding, we met with many of you urging action, and Sacramento did then apply and ultimately received a $5 million CalVIP award in February. And at that time, we were hopeful those dollars would have an immediate and life-saving impact. Unfortunately, that hope was shaken by the Sacramento Bee reporting on alleged mismanagement within OVP, mismanagement that could jeopardize CalVIP funding and undermine public trust. At the OVP presentation 2 weeks ago, staff expected to return to council today with CalVIP funding. It wasn't on the agenda. The city received its award 7 months ago. Every month of delay is a month when young people go without services designed to prevent shootings. At that time, too, staff expressed a very high degree of confidence in grantees' compliance, even after 2 providers actually offered testimony that contradicted that confidence. Those were direct acknowledgments that basic financial and documentation requirements were not met. We reached out to the city auditor and learned that the city auditor is reviewing the allegations as part of a biannual whistleblower process, with findings expected in early 2027. The issues that amounted to over $3 million across 7 years, we believe warrant a separate and independent audit. OVP appears to be preparing CalVIP contracts now, potentially with the same providers that are under review. So again, we urge council, if you could accelerate the deployment of CalVIP funds, 7 months is too long. Direct an independent audit of OVP and its grantees.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our next speaker is Shelley Hudson, then Annabelle Gonzalez, then L.R. Rogers.
Good afternoon. My name is Shelley Hudson, and I previously spoke about concerns raised by the Sacramento Bee reporting regarding the Office of Violence Prevention. I want to be clear. I believe deeply in the mission of violence prevention and in the people doing this difficult work. My concern is that this important mission deserves the strongest possible accountability, transparency, and public trust. I respectfully ask this council to order an independent audit of OVP grants, contracts, expenditures, reimbursements, and financial practices, including compliance with applicable requirements. The findings should be made public, along with necessary corrective actions. I also want to remind you that many of these concerns were raised by this very council. Vice Mayor Talamantes requested OVP's demographic data to improve reporting. Councilmember Vang asked for the city manager to reassess whether OVP should remain under the police department or move under the city manager or YPSI. Councilmember Dickinson questioned why collected data was not publicly available and said the issues raised in the press need examination. He also expressed concern that OVP's placement within the police department may hamper a comprehensive approach. Councilmember Kaplan said it may be time for OVP to find a different house. And Mayor McCarty called for an evaluation of oversight, recognizing its connection to community trust. These were important questions raised by council. Now I'm asking for follow-through. Please conduct the independent audit, make relevant data and findings public, and formally assess OVP's organizational placement. I know that accountability protects good work, and it does not undermine it. OVP's mission is too important to leave these questions unresolved. The young people and communities we are trying to protect deserve effective programs. The people doing this work deserve an organization they can be proud of, and Sacramento taxpayers deserve transparency and accountability. Thank you.
Next speaker is Annabelle Gonzalez, then L.R. Roberts.
Good afternoon, Vice Mayor and Council. My name is Annabelle Gonzalez, and I am speaking about the Department of Community Response and the tiny homes at 3511 Arena Boulevard. DCR was created under former Mayor Steinberg to do something different, respond to the homelessness and certain calls without always sending police. 5 years later, DCR has grown, so I think it is fair to ask, what does success look like? But first, Pedro, where's my survey? DCR had the time to survey people experiencing homelessness and ask what kind of housing they wanted. Where was a survey for the people who already lived near the proposed site, 3511 Arena Boulevard? We didn't get a survey. We didn't even get a letter in the mail. Yet we are the taxpayers paying for this department. DCR has 38 employees and had a $48.2 million program budget this year. Next year's proposed budget is $39.4 million, with $33.6 million coming from the general fund. The city's April numbers also show more than $3.6 million already spent across the 3 proposed micro-community sites. Arena alone was about $1.2 million without the full cost. So we clearly know how to track the money going in. So show us the results coming out. How many people enter these programs, how many leave, and how many actually leave successfully housed? That's basic. Your own budget counts thousands of participants on the wait list. And if you can count people coming in and every dollar going out, why can't the public easily see the outcome? And one more number caught my attention. The new budget shows $7.4 million in estimated capital costs for 2 micro-communities with 80 beds, but the city contracted for 3 proposed 40 home sites. So which 2 are we paying for? And what happened to the 3rd? Pedro, you've got the budget, you've got 38 employees, and you have the surveys. The public shouldn't have to do DCR's homework. Thank you.
Next speaker is L.R. Roberts, then Riquet A.
I'm L.R. Roberts. I'm in District 5. My caregiver friend Jan Daly gave me this shirt, Resist Like It's 1938. Germans, when the Nazis were taking over during Weimar times, chose to resist or support the genocide. We must take action during this time in our history. Recently, we got posts showing DHS, Department of Homeland Security, throwing a woman to the ground just a few blocks from here. Later, I got posts showing a person having to get a projectile removed from her arm, which I guess penetrated all the way to the bone. Our police should ticket ICE agents for driving without license plates, and surely we can take action on the illegal violence perpetrated by these federal entities which never should have existed to begin with. ICE went after the neighborhood just south of me on Fruit Ridge recently, and then Rancho, and then ICE tried to illegally raid an immigration law office. Take action on ICE now, please.
Next speaker is Rick A.
Don't worry about ICE. I'm a specialist. I'm with the watch. Can you restart my time? I was interrupted.
Please
I'm
proceed.
with the watch, formerly known as Anti-Narcotics Watch. That's what we do, is we watch. I got some reports for the mayor. Where is he? Gone. He's escaping liability legally. Okay? So all you are going to tell about these reports. Okay? I'm just going to pick the last issue. Okay? I was threatened. Normal. I get it all the time. But the staff, 7 of them, refused to call law enforcement. Also, 4 adjacent security guards seem to be calling law enforcement on me. Thank you for the DND, do not detain. It's really produced no videos. Certified Tech Roofing USA, any of you guys want to look at it? Thousands of complaints. Now, the one that's confusing me is this one staff said, 8 cents short. I said, okay, I'll pay. And then she said, they want to kill me, not you. I told her she shouldn't be speaking like that when she's on duty. Good thing nobody was in the store. McDonald's supervisor decides to threaten me when I'm complying with his unlawful order to leave my breakfast and collect my phone that's charging. Are you guys doing food control or are you doing charge control? I need to know how many trespasses I have. I got like thousands of videos, but I'm PWD. I can't remember stuff, so can you please print out a list for me? Or
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our next speaker is concerned citizen, then Mary Duplass. I have 2 more speakers.
thank you guys. I didn't get
Thank you
through
for your
it.
concerns.
A lot of stuff. I'll be back.
I have 2 more speakers,
Want the
concerned
receipt?
citizen, and then Mary.
The incident?
Please take your seat, sir.
No, I'm not taking the seat. They don't even want the receipt of the incident. Pretty serious stuff. You want the receipt of the incident?
Sir, either please take your seat or exit chambers.
I'm asking one more question.
Please take your seat or exit chambers.
All right. Thanks, guys. It's on video.
Please proceed.
Good afternoon. I would like to say Mayor, but unfortunately he did leave. Vice Mayor and members of the City Council, I am here today as concerned citizen. Before I begin, I request additional time because on August 18th, I registered via email and called in to speak remotely from a number not used when registering. The city clerk, Mindy, confirmed my email registration, and your office left a voicemail acknowledging my hand was raised while I was using a phone number I did not register with. Yet, your team, after acknowledging that, both attempts, the email and the phone call, adjourned without calling me, completely violating my rights to remote participation under Government Code Section 5495 3.4. Constituents' rights do not originate from a registration form. Protecting privacy should never become a barrier to government participation. Under the United States Supreme Court precedent, I can't say the word, in McIntyre versus Ohio, a person's decision to remain anonymous is a protected aspect of freedom of speech. I deliberately protected my privacy. I did not surrender my voice. Now we face another serious public access issue. I prepared to come in person on August 25th, only to discover that 5 p.m. evening meeting was canceled. Today's 5 p.m. meeting is also canceled. I submitted a public records request to your associates in the front, and I also submitted full written statement about everything that has happened. And I do suggest that everybody request those records.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. There's someone in the front row. There's someone in the front row that can explain to you the technical issues. So our last speaker is Mary.
There were no technical issues.
Hello, everyone. My name's Mary Dupois, and I am a gun violence survivor. My daughter went away to college, and she was shot and killed by her ex-boyfriend. I am a founding member of NorCal GVP and a longtime volunteer for Moms Demand Action and a survivor, Everytown Survivor Fellow. I am here once again to talk about the issues that were addressed in the Sacramento Bee regarding bureaucratic oversight failures, unverified expenses, and potential quid pro quo arrangements, and funding, CalVIP funding, that has not been released when it was approved in February. How many youth homicides have occurred in this city since then? How many could have been avoided? These may sound like sterile political scandals, but the reality on the ground is a matter of life and death. When public funds are mismanaged, it isn't just money that goes missing. Safe havens for youth close down. Emergency relocation funds for families fleeing retaliation disappear. Frontline outreach workers are forced to handle overwhelming trauma without the resources they need. And worst of all, this corruption destroys community trust. When residents see public funds being exploited, they lose faith in the system entirely. We cannot let the trauma of our community be treated this way. Money only flowing to connected entities. I support what my fellow.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Vice Mayor, that concludes the business and closes the public comment period.
Thank you. And we do have an adjourned memory. Councilmember Pluckybaum will begin it.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, members of the council and public. Today, I ask that we adjourn our meeting in memory of our colleague and friend, Jorge Azevedo, who recently passed. Jorge was a longtime member of the city's IT team, serving as a geographic information systems specialist, and in that role, he brought experience, technical expertise, and a commitment to public service to his work. IT operates largely behind the scenes, yet it touches nearly everything that we do. The maps, data, geographic information that Jorge helped develop and maintain support our infrastructure, planning, emergency response, asset management, and service delivery to every one of our residents and visitors alike. Although he was part of the IT team, employees throughout the city had the privilege of working closely with him over the years. He understood our organization, including our infrastructure operations, and more importantly, he shared our sense of mission and commitment to servant leadership. When our teams needed GIS information, mapping, data, or help solving a problem, we would call him and count on him. His work extended throughout the city. One example was his contribution to the preservation planning for Sacramento's historic cemetery, where he served on a multidisciplinary project team alongside historians, preservation professionals, park staff, and others. And he also helped collecting and analyzing downtown parking data and was instrumental in clearing the way for the approval and financing of the Golden One Arena. He also played a crucial role in the city's successful application and award for the Sacramento Last Mile Fiber Project to expand broadband services to underserved communities. But he should not be remembered simply for the projects that he worked on or the technology he supported. Vice Mayor?
He should be remembered for the person he was. George was a colleague, a friend, and a part of the City of Sacramento family. He built relationships across department lines, shared his knowledge freely, and spent his career helping other city employees do their jobs better. And in an organization as large as ours, some of the people who make the greatest difference aren't necessarily the ones that we see here in the council chambers and that the public sees. They are the people behind the scenes who answer the call when help is needed, understand how our systems work, solve problems, and quietly make the entire organization work better. George was one of those people. His passing is a tremendous loss, first and foremost to his family and loved ones. It is also a tremendous loss to his friends and colleagues in the information technology department, particularly his GIS family, and to many employees throughout the city of Sacramento who have had the opportunity to work with him and to be able to get to know him. For those of us here in the city of Sacramento that were fortunate enough to have George as a colleague, partner, and friend, his work supported departments and services throughout the organization, and his contributions will continue to be felt long after his passing. On behalf of the city of Sacramento, I extend my deepest condolences to George's family and loved ones, especially to his colleagues who are joining us today in the council chambers, and to everyone that knew him. To George's family and IT family, we share in your loss, and we are grateful that you share George with us. We are grateful for his service to the city of Sacramento. We are grateful for him being him. We are grateful for him being a mentor to others, and we're grateful for his friendship, and may we all remember him. With that being said, I know we have Jackie, who is his sister. Would she like to say a few words? Okay, and then Mayor Pro Tem Guerra first.
Thank you very much. Vice Mayor, I got a chance to meet, Jorge when we first both started at the city. And I got to know him even better when I started biking downtown with my kid, and we would chat. The sweetest guy. I mean, it's not about just the work that he did, but the biggest heart. And as a parent, it was just tremendous to see what a beautiful human being he was, and what a beautiful person, Sacramentan he was for our city. And I know my deepest condolences to his family and also our friends and colleagues at the city of Sacramento. My condolences again, and my big heart goes out to you as well.
And Jackie, thank you for joining us. If you'd like to say a few words.
I want to say thank you for giving our family the opportunity to come here and hear about Jorge's contributions to the city of Sacramento. Listening to the stories and learning about the impact he had here has meant so much to us and to me. It's really special to see just how many people he touched, not only through his work, but just through who he was as a person. Jorge was not only a proud city employee, and let me tell you, he really was, but he was also a loving husband, a proud father, a gracious son, and the best brother and friend. And of course, he was a natural leader. He had a way of being the light in the lives of people around him. In our family, Jorge was definitely the fixer guy, and I'm sure he was that too here at work. It didn't really matter what it was. If it was your car, your computer, your bike, if it was something broken, Jorge was going to fix it. And he wasn't going to stop trying until he did. That's just who he was. He had this incredible ability to take all the pieces of a problem, even when they didn't seem to work together, and somehow figure out how to make them work. But more importantly, Jorge was just a really good guy. He was kind, he was caring. Sorry. He was loyal, and he loved his people deeply. He had a way of making you feel supported and protected and like you were never alone. And he was one of the strongest people I've ever known. Through every challenge life put in front of him, Jorge showed so much strength, determination, and resiliency. And that's something I know everyone who loved him and who worked with him will carry with them. I'm so proud of you, Jorge. I love you, brother. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you for sharing him with us. Phil? Councilor Pluggy.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. We've prepared a resolution in memory of Jorge. Vice Mayor and I already read the recitals. I just want to close with the resolution itself. Therefore, be it resolved, the mayor and city council of the city of Sacramento hereby honor and celebrate the life and legacy of Jorge Acevedo, extend our deepest condolences to his family, loved ones, and all who mourn his passing, and express our profound gratitude for his lasting contributions to IT, data, historical preservation, and the stewardship of the city of Sacramento. With that, Vice Mayor, I respectfully ask that we adjourn today in the memory of Jorge Acevedo. He will live on in our memories.
Okay. And we're adjourned in memory of Jorge Acevedo, 4:06 p.m.